it's casting vision and, understanding that in that vision, your vision needs to fit the vision of the rest of the team, right? And that means it needs to fit their personality too. And you need to account for that. Because if you can do that, they're going to have way more buy-in, even if the change is not comfortable. And that was, the biggest thing I learned. I went, hey, full ham, here we go. This is what we're doing. And it was the right decision in order to do it. All the decisions, as I look back, gave us the highest probability. What I didn't take into account was, how did that make the rest of the team feel?
Yeah.
And, looking back, and that's just, had I known myself as well as I did, I could have maybe said, hey, let me take a hot second to think about this and how is this going to impact the rest of my doves on my team? Because this change is not going to be comfortable for them.
Welcome to the Fitness CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to helping fitness entrepreneurs launch and grow successful gyms. Here's your host, Bryce Henson.
So why do gym owners need to basically understand this? And then can you share maybe some stories, a story or two, how maybe if you would have known, had a better understanding of your teammate, you could have put them in a position to be more successful. And I'll do that the same, after you reply.
Yeah, if you're an owner, if you're a leader within your organization, you're leading people, and leadership is influence. And in order to influence somebody, you have to be on their level. You have to connect with them. You really do. And this is so essential. Understanding their personality is so essential, and how you can connect with them. And that's something, honestly, up until 2.5 years ago, when we really dove into this.
We're shooting this in 2022, so this is probably 2020.
Yeah,
right?
2020, really.
COVID.
Yeah, and I just say, holy smokes, I wish I would have known this pre-pandemic. Mm-hmm. And I say that because, you have awareness and that sort of stuff, but just not intentional awareness like now. Mm-hmm. And, statistically in the U.S., you're going to look at 69.8% or 70%, let's just call it, of people in the population are going to have dove.
Not just in the U.S., worldwide.
Worldwide. Yeah. They're going to have a dove. And one of the behavioral styles of dove, or a supportive, is that they're reluctant to change because they understand that change can impact somebody, because they're high people pleasers. They're high people. They want to be around people, and they want to make sure everything is nice, no friction.
Don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat, baby.
Everyone's taken care of.
And dude, look what COVID did.
Yeah,
COVID just rocked the boat, and especially in the gym space. We were not built for an online platform. We had to become an online platform overnight.
When you say we, meaning Fit Body Bootcamp.
Yeah, Fit Body Boot. We had to go from in-person sessions to virtual. We had to still. Circumstance doesn't change responsibility. Our responsibility is to take care of the health, wellness, and fitness of our clients and their mental health. And we had to pivot overnight. Now, for me, my high task side, high eagle, and then high, owl, it's job needs to get done. Let's go. And it was a lot of hard right turns, hard left turns to make sure we were aligning and putting out the product, the virtual sessions, the live Zoom sessions. And it was a change to our coaches. And to me, thinking about that at the time, I had 7 people on my staff, of which we had not gone through the personality tests during that time frame. But, statistically, 70% of them, so you're looking at least 5, are going to have that dove, which means they're not going to be really receptive to change, even if all the data says do it. So, for me, it was let's go. And I know, looking back, that just caused a lot of friction, and I could have and should have done a better job of asking or presenting the issue, and then being like, hey, what do you guys think? Instead of being like, this is what we're doing.
And that's a good point to bring up, because it's not that you wouldn't take that action, but it's also the approach, the communication, 100%. Providing visibility. And it's important to have a feedback culture to begin with.
Yeah.
But especially if your team is primarily made of doves, you're going to want to lean into that a little bit more, because if you don't, they're going to be stirring inside. It's kind of like that duck analogy, when they're basically, doves are kind of usually cool, calm, and collected. They're above the water, but their feet are just kind of really causing a havoc. And that's what's going on internally and emotionally. And then when they leave the meeting, when they leave your L10, and when they leave, your, influence on a day-to-day basis, at the gym, they're going to take that baggage with them, and they're going to, connect with their spouse and be really stressed out about it. And you obviously, as a leader, you want to avoid that.
100%. And that's, always it's casting vision, and, understanding that in that vision, your vision needs to fit the vision of the rest of the team, right? And that means it needs to fit their personality too. And you need to account for that.
Yep.
Because if you can do that, they're going to have way more buy-in, even if the change is not comfortable. And that was, the biggest thing I learned. I went, hey, full ham, here we go. This is what we're doing. And it was the right decision in order to do it. All the decisions, as I look back, gave us the highest probability. What I didn't take into account was, how did that make the rest of the team feel?
Yeah.
And, looking back, and that's just, had I known myself as well as I did, I could have maybe said, hey, let me take a hot second to think about this. And how is this going to impact the rest of my doves on my team? Because this change is not going to be comfortable for them. And, it's one of those things, huge learning opportunity, because oftentimes when you start going through this, really diving in, again, stress and pressure is really gonna magnify the natural tendencies and traits. So for me, in that stress and pressure of your business is shut down, the government has shut everything down, I need to continue to keep this business going, not only for my clients, but for my team, because I want them to have gainful employment. This isn't going to stop. It was objective, find the solution, which is the right decision. I could have had a little more art and a little more tact that went with it. And just I would have known that a lot of my tendencies in that pressure are coming off aggressive, even though it's not intended to be aggressive or anything like that. It's just assertive in my opinion, but looking, now is probably aggressive.
And the reason that's important also too, to provide some context to our audience, is eagles typically are very direct, and under stress, they can come off as abrasive, as an example.
Oh, yeah.
And especially a dove who's in the exact opposite side of the quadrant typically is going to tend to feel that, sometimes, especially in excess, an eagle's communication can be abrasive.